Hello there. Welcome to this quiet moment. If you're hearing this, you've likely already found your way to somewhere comfortable. Perhaps you've turned off the lights. Perhaps your head is resting on a pillow. There's nothing you need to do right now, except simply be here, letting the day settle behind you like dust finding its place after a long afternoon. Tonight, we're going to explore something ordinary. Something so familiar that you've felt it countless times without ever thinking much about it. We're going to look at how the brain becomes tired, not in any urgent or complicated way, just a gentle observation of what happens when a mind has been awake for many hours and begins to slow down. This won't be a story with twists or discoveries. There won't be any moments of surprise. Instead, think of this as a quiet walk through something you already know, presented in soft detail, with no hurry at all. The kind of thing that asks nothing of you except to listen, and even listening can be light, barely there. The brain getting tired is one of the most unremarkable things that happens to us. It happens every single day. It's been happening since you were very young, and it will continue happening for as long as you live. There's a comfort in that repetition, a rhythm, something dependable. And so tonight, we'll move slowly through a few simple ideas. We'll talk about energy and chemicals and rhythms. We'll mention how the brain uses fuel, how small molecules build up during the day, and how everything inside your head gradually shifts towards stillness. None of it requires your focus. None of it asks you to remember. It's just here, unfolding at its own pace, like watching clouds drift across an evening sky. You might notice your thoughts wandering. That's perfectly fine. You might hear a word or two and then drift away into your own quiet space. That's exactly what should happen. This isn't a lecture. It's more like a soft hum in the background, while your mind does what it naturally does when the day is done. So let yourself settle a little deeper. There's nowhere to go, nothing to solve. We'll begin now with something very basic, something almost boring in its simplicity. We'll start with where mental energy comes from and what it means when that energy begins to fade. The brain is a small thing, really. It weighs about 3 pounds. You could hold it in 2 hands if you needed to. And yet, for something so modest in size, it uses a remarkable amount of energy. About 20% of everything your body consumes goes directly to keeping your brain running. 20%, not for moving or breathing or digesting, but simply for thinking, for being aware, for existing as a conscious mind. That energy comes from glucose, simple sugar, dissolved in your blood, carried quietly to billions of tiny cells called neurons. Each neuron takes in that glucose, combines it with oxygen, and uses the result to send signals, to fire, to communicate with other neurons nearby. This happens constantly. Right now, even as you rest, even as your thoughts drift and thin, your neurons are still working, still consuming fuel, still humming along in their quiet, invisible way. There's no drama in this process, no sudden moments, just chemistry repeating itself, over and over, in patterns so regular they might as well be breathing. Glucose arrives, oxygen arrives, a little spark of energy is released, a signal travels from one neuron to another, and then it happens again and again, millions of times every second, without pause, without fanfare. But even though the process is steady, the fuel itself is limited. Your brain doesn't store much glucose. It relies on a constant supply delivered moment by moment through your bloodstream. And after many hours of being awake, after a day spent thinking and deciding and noticing and remembering, those small stores begin to run low, not empty, just lower, just enough to make everything feel a little slower. You felt this before, that sensation when thinking becomes slightly harder, when holding a thought takes more effort than it did in the morning, when you read a sentence and have to go back because the meaning didn't quite land. That's not a failure. That's not weakness. It's just the brain running on less fuel. It's a natural rhythm, as predictable as the sun setting. Mental effort drains those stores faster. Concentrating, problem solving, making decisions. These things ask the brain to work a little harder, to use a little more glucose, to burn through its supply more quickly. But even doing nothing in particular, even just being awake and aware, slowly uses up what's available. The brain doesn't rest while you're conscious. It keeps running, keeps consuming, keeps quietly spending its energy on the simple act of being you. And so, as the day goes on, as the hours pile up, the fuel begins to dwindle. Not suddenly, not all at once, just gradually, like water draining from a very slow leak. And as it drains, the brain begins to shift, begins to slow, begins to hum a little more quietly. Imagine it like a machine, not a loud one, not something with gears and clanking metal, something softer, something that hums, a low, steady sound that's been going all day, barely noticed, just there in the background. And now, as evening comes, as the fuel runs lower, that hum begins to deepen, to soften, to wind down into something even gentler. This is what tiredness is. Not a breakdown, not a problem to fix. Just the brain acknowledging that it's been working all day, and the time has come to rest, to stop consuming, to let the fuel replenish while everything goes quiet. There's nothing urgent about this, nothing that needs your attention. It's just happening right now, as you listen, as you breathe, as your mind drifts wherever it wants to go. As the brain uses energy throughout the day, something else happens, something quiet, something that builds up slowly, without announcement, like sediment settling at the bottom of a still pond. There's a molecule called adenosine. It's small, unremarkable in most ways, but it has one particular job, and it does that job very well. Adenosine accumulates in your brain while you're awake. Every time a neuron uses energy, every time glucose is broken down and signals are sent, a little bit of adenosine is left behind. Not as waste, exactly, more like a byproduct. A gentle reminder that work has been done. And the longer you're awake, the more adenosine collects, hour by hour, thought by thought. It gathers in the spaces between neurons, quiet and patient, building up in concentration, so gradually you'd never notice the change from one moment to the next. But over the course of a day, over many hours of being conscious and aware, the amount of adenosine grows. And here's what matters. The more adenosine there is, the sleepier you feel. It's that simple. There's no complex mechanism, no chain of events, just a chemical slowly increasing, and as it does, your brain receives a soft signal, a suggestion, really, that perhaps it's time to rest, that perhaps the day has been long enough. You can think of it like dust. Not unpleasant dust, not the kind that makes you sneeze or bothers you, just the ordinary kind that settles on surfaces after a day of living. After doors have opened and closed, after footsteps have crossed the floor, after air has moved through rooms. By evening, there's a fine layer of it everywhere, visible only if you look closely. Proof that the day happened, that time passed. Adenosine is like that. It settles in your brain after a day of thinking, after conversations and decisions and small observations, after all the invisible work your mind does, simply by being awake. And by now, by this point in the day, there's quite a bit of it. Enough to make everything feel softer, slower, quieter. This isn't something to resist. It's just chemistry. Just molecules doing what molecules do. There's a certain comfort in that, in knowing that sleepiness isn't a choice or a weakness, but simply the result of a chemical that's been building all day, patiently waiting for this moment. And while adenosine accumulates, other things gather too. Other small molecules, other quiet byproducts of a brain that's been working. Nothing harmful, nothing urgent, just the normal debris of consciousness, the leftovers of thought. During the day, there's no time to clear them away. The brain is too busy, too occupied with the present moment. But at night, something shifts. Something begins to happen that only occurs when you're deeply asleep. There's a system. It's called the glymphatic system, a network of tiny channels that run alongside blood vessels in the brain. During waking hours, these channels are mostly closed, quiet, waiting. But when sleep comes, when consciousness fades and the brain finally lets go, they open, and then, very slowly, fluid begins to flow. It's not a rushing river, not a flood, more like a tide, a gentle, rhythmic movement. Cerebrospinal fluid, the clear liquid that surrounds your brain, begins to wash through these channels, slowly, patiently, carrying away the adenosine, carrying away the other small molecules that have built up, flushing them out, bit by bit, while you sleep. It's a kind of cleaning, but not the kind that involves effort or noise. It's more like watching waves lap at a shore in the evening, back and forth, in and out, calm and predictable, the tide coming in as darkness falls, smoothing away the marks left in the sand. Your brain does this every night, while you're unaware, while you're somewhere else entirely, lost in dreams or deep unconsciousness. The glymphatic system opens. The fluid flows. The debris of the day is quietly carried away. And in the morning when you wake, the adenosine is gone. The channels close again, and the cycle begins once more. But that's hours away. Right now, the adenosine is still here, still present, still doing its quiet work of making you feel exactly as you should feel at this time of day. Heavy, soft, ready to let go. There's nothing you need to do about it. Nothing you need to think about. It's already happening, already in motion. The system already knows what comes next. Beneath all of this, beneath the glucose and the adenosine and the slow accumulation of a day's worth of thinking, there's something else, something deeper, a rhythm that's been with you since before you were born, a quiet pattern that repeats itself every single day, without variation, without pause. It's called the circadian rhythm, your body's internal clock, a cycle that takes roughly 24 hours to complete and then begins again. It's not something you control, not something you decide. It simply is. like breathing, like your heartbeat, a fundamental part of being alive. This rhythm touches everything: your temperature, your hormone levels, your digestion, but perhaps most noticeably, it shapes your alertness, your sense of being awake or being ready for sleep. It rises and falls like a wave, gentle, predictable, moving through the same pattern it moved through yesterday and the day before that, and every day of your life. In the morning, the wave begins to rise, slowly at first, then more steadily as daylight grows. By midday, it's at or near its peak. You feel most alert, most capable, most present. And then, as afternoon fades into evening, the wave begins to fall. Gradually, without hurry, pulling your alertness down with it, degree by degree, until night arrives and the wave is low and soft and ready for sleep. This happens whether you want it to or not, whether you're busy or idle, whether you're thinking hard or hardly thinking at all. The rhythm continues. The wave moves. And right now, at this hour, it's low. It's bringing you exactly where you are, exactly to this quiet, heavy feeling. There's a small cluster of cells in your brain responsible for keeping this rhythm steady. It's called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, a small place, barely visible, tucked just above where your optic nerves cross. It sits there, quietly receiving information about light and darkness, and uses that information to keep your internal clock synchronized with the world outside. When light enters your eyes, even through closed eyelids, signals travel to this tiny cluster of cells, and those cells respond by nudging your rhythm slightly, keeping it aligned with the day, reminding your brain that it's time to be awake, to be alert, to engage with the world. But when darkness comes, when the light fades and evening settles, those signals change. They soften, and the suprachiasmatic nucleus responds accordingly, allowing the rhythm to drift downward, allowing the wave to fall, allowing your brain to prepare for rest. It's a gentle process, nothing abrupt, just light and darkness, day after day, nudging your internal clock in the same direction, keeping you in step with the turning of the earth, with sunrise and sunset, with the simple fact that days end and nights begin. And because this rhythm is so predictable, because it follows the same pattern every single day, your brain knows what to expect. It knows that evening brings lower alertness, that darkness brings drowsiness, that this time of day, this quiet hour, is meant for winding down. There's no surprise in it, no uncertainty, just a pattern repeating, a wave rising and falling, the same as it did yesterday, the same as it will tomorrow. You can imagine your brain right now synchronized with the evening around you, with the stillness, with the absence of daylight, with the quiet that comes when the day is done. Your internal clock and the external world aligned, moving together, both saying the same thing, that it's time to rest, that the day has run its course, that the rhythm has brought you here, to this moment, to this feeling of heaviness and calm. Nothing needs to change. Nothing needs to shift. You're already exactly where the rhythm wants you to be, already in sync with something far older and deeper than thought, already part of a pattern that's been repeating for as long as there have been days and nights. And the rhythm will continue through tonight, through tomorrow, always the same, always predictable, always gently guiding you from waking to sleep and back again. But for now, it's guiding you toward rest, toward stillness, toward letting go. As tiredness deepens, as the adenosine builds and the circadian rhythm pulls downward, something begins to change in the way your brain communicates with itself. Throughout the day, neurons fire in quick, irregular bursts, each one sending its own signal at its own time, independent and busy. Millions of them, all active at once, creating a kind of electrical chatter, fast, fragmented, the sound of a mind engaged with the world. But now, as evening settles and sleepiness arrives, that pattern begins to shift. The neurons start to slow down. Not all at once, not suddenly, just gradually, like a conversation winding down after everyone has said what they needed to say. And as they slow, something else happens. They begin to synchronize, to fire together, to fall into rhythm with one another. What was once scattered and quick becomes smoother, more organized, more wave-like. If you could measure the electrical activity in your brain right now, you'd see those waves, gentle oscillations moving through the tissue, rising and falling, rising and falling, slower than they were an hour ago, slower than they were this morning. Each wave a little longer, a little softer. These waves have names. When you're awake and alert, the waves are fast and small. But as drowsiness comes, as your eyes grow heavy and your thoughts begin to drift, the waves lengthen, they deepen, they move into what's called the theta range. Theta waves, slow, rolling rhythms that appear when the brain is no longer trying to focus, when it's letting go of sharpness, when it's somewhere between waking and sleep. Theta waves feel like something you might recognize. That state where you're not quite thinking anymore, but not quite dreaming either. Where thoughts come and go without much structure. Where time feels loose, uncertain. Where you might start to lose track of where you are or what you were just thinking about. And if you go deeper still, if you let yourself sink further into rest, the waves slow even more. They become delta waves, the slowest rhythms the brain produces. Long, rolling oscillations that only appear in deep sleep, when consciousness has fully faded, when the mind has gone somewhere else entirely. But you don't have to do anything to make this happen. You don't have to try. The brain knows how to slow itself down. It's been doing this every night for your entire life. The neurons know when to synchronize, when to fall into rhythm, when to let the waves grow longer and softer. It's not effort. It's more like gravity, like something pulling the mind gently downward, toward stillness, toward quiet, toward the deep, slow rhythms of rest. You might notice it happening right now, the way your thoughts are spreading out, thinning, becoming less distinct, less solid, like watching ink dissolve in water, the edges blurring, the clarity fading, not gone, just softer, just less defined. That's the waves lengthening. That's the neurons slowing their chatter. That's your brain easing into the rhythm of sleep. There's nothing wrong with letting it happen, nothing to resist. The waves will do what they do. The neurons will synchronize when they're ready, and your thoughts will continue to thin and spread and drift, following the same pattern they follow every night. Theta waves now, maybe soon, delta, long, slow oscillations carrying you deeper, pulling you down not with force, but with the gentle, inevitable pull of something that's always been there. Something older than thinking, older than language, just rhythm, just waves, just the brain doing what it does when the day is done. You can feel it, perhaps, that heaviness, that softness, the way holding onto a thought takes more effort than it did before, the way letting go feels easier, more natural. The waves are there, moving through you, slowing, deepening, guiding you toward whatever comes next. Nothing sudden, nothing jarring, just waves, just rhythm, just the quiet electrical hum of a brain settling into rest. There comes a point in the evening when the mind begins to release its hold on things, not dramatically, not all at once, just a gradual loosening, a softening of the grip it's been maintaining all day on tasks, concerns, and the small details of being awake. Throughout the day, your brain has been making decisions, choosing, planning, keeping track of what needs attention and what can wait. There's a part of your brain responsible for this, the prefrontal cortex. It sits just behind your forehead, quietly managing the work of staying organized, of thinking ahead, of holding intentions. But now, as tiredness deepens, as the waves slow and the adenosine accumulates, this part of your brain begins to quiet. It doesn't stop entirely, not yet, but it dims. It eases back. It stops trying so hard to maintain control. And as it does, something shifts in the quality of your thoughts. The things that seemed important an hour ago start to feel less urgent. The plans you were holding, the tasks you were remembering, the small worries that were sitting somewhere in the back of your mind. They're still there, perhaps, but they're softer now, less insistent, less demanding of your attention. Nothing needs to be solved right now. Nothing needs to be decided. Every thought, every concern, every small thing you are holding on to can wait. Until morning. Until tomorrow. Until some other time when the prefrontal cortex is awake again and ready to manage things. For now, it's dimming, quieting, letting go of its role. And as it does, the chatter of planning begins to fade. The constant low hum of what needs to happen next, of what you should remember, of what requires attention. That hum grows quieter, softer, until it's barely there at all. What's left are calm spaces, gaps between thoughts, moments where nothing in particular is happening, where the mind isn't doing anything except existing, drifting, floating somewhere between awareness and absence. You might notice this, the way thoughts come more slowly now, the way they arrive without much weight, without much meaning, just passing through, just there for a moment and then gone again. There's no effort required to let this happen. It's already happening. The prefrontal cortex is already dimming. The focus is already releasing. The day is already fading into something quieter. Background thoughts that were there earlier, small concerns or half-formed plans, are dissolving now, fading into the distance, like voices in another room growing quieter as you move away. Still there, technically, but no longer reaching you, no longer asking anything of you. And that's perfectly fine. That's exactly what should be happening at this hour, at this point in the evening, when tiredness has settled in and the brain has done enough for one day. The prefrontal cortex will wake again tomorrow. It will be sharp again, ready again, But tonight, it rests, it steps back. It allows everything else to soften and spread and drift without direction. Nothing is lost in this letting go. Nothing is forgotten that matters. The brain will hold on to what it needs to hold on to. But right now, it's choosing not to hold so tightly, not to grip so firmly, not to work so hard. Just releasing, just easing, just allowing the natural pull of tiredness to guide everything downward, into calm, into stillness, into the quiet spaces where thoughts thin out and fade and eventually disappear altogether. There's nothing you need to do, nothing you need to think about. The prefrontal cortex is already dimming. The mind is already letting go. The transition is already underway. All that's left is to drift with it, to let the softness continue, to allow the calm spaces to grow wider and deeper and more complete, until there's nothing left but rest. Your brain has done enough today. It has consumed its fuel. It has built up its adenosine. It has followed its rhythm from morning to evening. It has slowed its signals. It has dimmed its focus. It has let go of what it was holding. All of this has happened quietly, predictably, the way it happens every single day, the way it has happened for as long as you've been alive. There's a kind of beauty in that, in the simplicity of it, in knowing that tiredness isn't something complicated or mysterious, just chemistry, just rhythm, just the brain acknowledging that it's been awake long enough. And now it rests, not because you're telling it to, not because you're trying to make it happen, but because that's what comes next. That's what the pattern calls for. After waking comes sleep. After activity comes stillness. After a day of thinking comes a night of quiet repair. The glymphatic system will open soon, if it hasn't already. The fluid will begin to flow, slowly washing away the adenosine, slowly clearing the debris, while you're somewhere else, while consciousness has faded into something softer, something deeper. The waves in your brain will continue to slow. Theta giving way to delta, long rolling rhythms that carry you further from the surface, further from awareness, into the deep, quiet spaces where the mind goes when it's truly at rest. The prefrontal cortex will stay dim. The planning will stay quiet. The concerns and tasks and small details of the day will wait, patient and still, until morning. Nothing is urgent, nothing is pressing. Everything that needs to happen will happen in its own time, without effort, without thought. Your body knows how to do this. Your brain knows how to do this. They've been practicing every night. Every single night, the same rhythm, the same pattern, the same gentle descent from waking into sleep. And tonight is no different. You might still be aware right now, still hearing these words, still loosely following along. Or perhaps you've already drifted, already gone somewhere else, already let go of listening. Both are fine. Both are exactly right, because there's nothing here that requires your attention. Nothing that asks you to hold on. Just words, soft and steady, moving through the quiet. Present if you need them, absent if you don't. The brain getting tired is such an ordinary thing, such an unremarkable process. Glucose and adenosine, rhythms and waves, the prefrontal cortex dimming, the lymphatic system preparing to clean. All of it happening in its own time, following patterns older than memory. And here you are at the end of a day, at the bottom of the wave, where tiredness has brought you, where the rhythm said you'd be. There's nowhere else to go from here, nothing else to do. Just rest, just stillness, just the quiet hum of a brain that's done its work and now lets everything settle. The thoughts spreading out, thinning, dissolving into something too soft to hold on to. The waves slowing, lengthening, pulling you deeper into rhythms that ask nothing of you. The adenosine heavy and present, a gentle weight, a reminder that sleep is close, everything winding down, everything softening, everything moving toward the same quiet place. You don't have to follow these words anymore. You don't have to listen. You don't have to hold on to anything at all. Just let it be. Let the brain do what it does. Let the tiredness deepen. Let the waves carry you wherever they're going, into rest, into stillness, into the invisible work of a night passing. Your brain will take care of everything. It knows what to do. It's been doing this your whole life. And tomorrow, when morning comes, when the rhythm rises again, when the adenosine has cleared and the fuel has been restored, you'll wake, and the cycle will begin again. But that's hours away. Hours and hours. For now, there's only this. Only quiet. Only the soft, steady drift of a mind letting go. Nothing more is needed. Nothing more is asked. Just rest.